right. Well, happy Tuesday. Today's March 23rd, 2021, and I'm Michelle Pache, filling in for Jeannie, and I'm here today with Dr. Michael Ryce. We warmly welcome you to the show, and thank you for choosing to be with us. Call-in number is 563-999-3581. Press 1, and it puts you in the queue to talk with our host. We encourage you to call in with your comments or questions, allowing you to actively strengthen and deepen your practice. So now let's welcome Michael in support of developing our inner process of Aramaic forgiveness. And hi, Susan, your microphone is still on, and so if you want to keep me company while we wait for Michael,
sure.
it'd be
I'm
nice.
walking. I'm about to go in my house. There'll be a little noise, but thanks. I'd be happy to.
So I haven't been on the show for a couple months. I was in Mexico, and I thought it would just be best to set the commitment aside for a little bit in case there were internet issues and what have you. So I'm not sure. I think Dr. Michael had put together a workshop online. Are you participating in that?
Yes, yep, I am. We did a first 14-week one where we were the preliminary guinea pigs, and it turned out to be extremely effective and successful using Zoom. And Magda was the one that said, you know, here we are facing each other. When we go to a retreat in Heartland, we're all sitting in rows looking at Michael and the backs of each other's heads. Here we are looking at our faces, and there's something really wonderful about that, and that was true. And in order to get the benefit of the retreat, we couldn't do 9 full days of Zoom, of course. So Michael parsed it out. 2.5 or 3 hours on a Sunday afternoon and 2 hours on a Tuesday night to start. And those of us who were in it got a tremendous amount about it. And he recorded all of the video sessions, questions and answers, and his presentations, which turned out to be a ready-made gold mine for a second retreat, and all the work had been done. So he said, how about we run it again, but format it so that new people get the assignment of listening to the ready-made Zoom things, and then we meet live 2 hours on Wednesday nights. You oldies can come in free of charge. You new people pay a fee, and I don't know how that fee compared to the original one. And so we're having a second set of 14 weeks. And
okay. You guys are in the middle of that right now.
What?
You're in the middle of that right now.
Yeah, we're in the middle of it. Yeah. And our assignment, even for the oldies, is we're told you're invited to be support people. You don't have to be there for all the sessions, and you don't have to listen to the videos, but we strongly recommend that you listen to them as if you've never listened before. And so I've been listening. Tim Bingham has not so much, but I have. And I get, you know how it is. You hear something 25 times, and then suddenly you say, oh, my God, I finally got that. So
oh, my God.
Yeah. It's been good to hear them again. Yeah, that's the retreat that we're doing, and we're about halfway through the second set, and I think he's going to keep it rolling so more and more of us can be support people for more and more new people who come on and listen to the presentations. And I imagine we'll be adding, because those Wednesday night live ones on Zoom are also recorded, so they'll be part of the resources for next time. It's really incredibly creative of Michael and Jeannie to figure this out, and Jeannie is doing overtime with, sending. We have a website, a private website group, codependence to interdependence. And she posts links and films and, input from people. And so it's more than anybody can use or handle. It's just rich.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And then the next time we do the intensive, we'll invite everybody who's been to the first two. We'll do the same thing with another 2 hours per week, so we'll create another 28 hours of video that will become part of the library that's available to the next group of people. And, we're kind of calling it a rolling intensive where everybody that's done it gets to come back and play every time we do it again. So it's a win-win all the way around. We're also looking at, because, of course, there are staggering start times when people want to come in, we're looking at maybe doing a reduced fee where someone can join the intensive and get access to all of the videos, including the personal code evaluation. And even though there won't be a live component to it, they'll have access to, like, by the time we're finished with this intensive, I think we're at about 86 hours of live video with the group. And so they'll have access to all of that. And then if they want to, the next time we do it live, they'll be able to join live, pay an upgrade fee, and be part of the live intensive. So it's all the way around. I mean, Zoom is just such a blessing, and this whole, being able to do it online is going to, I think, take us to a whole other level with making the work available. So it's pretty cool.
And guess what's happening, and Michael's not telling this, but the immersion that he and Jeannie are experiencing by doing this has caused Jeannie and Michael to have huge learning episodes, and new material is coming out. Michael is crafting a long worksheet, which what the heck is it, Power Person? I mean, what is it? It's
the Power Person worksheet, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been working on it the last couple of days.
Oh, yeah, and it's extended from the original one, and it really helps us dive deeper into issues with our power persons. And so the creative process is nabbing Michael and Jeannie, too. Jeannie has had a couple of breakthroughs of her own, and I'm wondering, it's just this immersion. You just have to go there. And the rest of us are...
Yeah, it's definitely taken both of us to a whole different level. Mm-hmm. Pretty exciting.
I think that's happening,
in fact,
for the second time arounders too, Michael.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's what's going to, that I see as the benefit of the rolling intensive. It's going to just keep people supported, engaged, and extending support, which, of course, we teach best that which males need to learn. And, keep it moving, keep it rocking. And
right.
Actually, Jeannie's brother is here right now, and he's picking up her dad until Sunday, and we're going to have an intermission. We've got Arya Rain. We had her yesterday. We've got her today. And thank you for being available to do the show today, Michelle. We appreciate it. And so when we complete the show, we're actually turning our phones off until Sunday. We're going to be incommunicado. So we're just going to take time to breathe. And we've been doing a lot of work. Jeannie's been doing a lot of energy field work on me and breathing me, and vice versa. I've been breathing her. And there's just a whole new level of aliveness and the presence of love in our home and in our relationship, which has just gone to made a quantum leap. So we're going to take the next 3 or 4 days and do our own intensive and just get quiet and be with it. So,
are you not going to do the radio show, Michael?
We're on Thursday and Friday, tomorrow and Friday, we're going to do a pre-recorded session so that we're just in our own space for the next 4 days. We haven't had that for, I don't know, 8 months ago. Jeannie's brother came, picked up her dad, but we haven't had any real alone time between Arya Rain and Dad at 88, Arya Rain at 29 months. They're an interesting, sweet, wonderful pair of bookends, and we're looking forward to just getting a few days to ourselves. So hold the space for us if you would. Send love.
Great.
So, Michelle, how are you, young lady?
I'm fine, Michael.
Good. Are you still down in Mexico?
Well, I left Mexico Saturday, and I flew Tucson, and so that's been nice. My son is here. Well, actually, he wasn't here. He was driving back from Florida. His plans changed, and so I went to Sedona for a couple days, and I just got back to Tucson yesterday. And I'm supposed to leave to go home tomorrow, but I'm not going to because Miss Alyssa is at my house with her boyfriend, and she has COVID. So I'm going to just stay put until my house gets decontaminated. She was FaceTiming me when she was in line to get the test, and I realized, I'm like, why are you driving my car to get your COVID test? So I'm going to extend my time in Arizona right now. Michael, are you muted?
Excuse me, I was mute challenged. I was just saying that it sounds like it would be nice to have that space with your son. And we certainly hold the space for your daughter to clear this out of her system and be free of all effects of it. It strengthens her immunity and her physiology, and she's able to rock on. And when you get back home, your house is clean and clear and heading to the next level, immunity and strength.
One of my thoughts is I'm going to have her go bring up to the basement the ionizer. Do you remember when you had me suggested by? And I'm like,
yep.
Oh, that bed is going to wipe out what I need to wipe out.
Yes, in your car too. Although you don't want to leave it in your car too much. Are you talking about the hydrogen peroxide or the ozone machine?
Yeah, the ozone thing. I know it destroys the rubber.
Yeah, you can do it briefly. You just don't want to leave it for a long time in the car because it will start to eat up the rubber. So, but a couple hours will probably detoxify it and leave it clean and clear, and all systems go.
I remember we did that at Heartland, and I saw it work just so effectively.
Yes, ozone is a wonderful thing.
So Susan sounds pretty excited. So Miss Susan,
do you have any other thoughts for us?
Who were you talking to right then?
To you, young lady, wondering if you had any other thoughts. And thank you for the testimonial, by the way.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, I don't actually. I do, but they're on a piece of paper somewhere in the house, and I'm down in the basement hanging laundry, and I can't think of them. But when I go up, and if nobody calls in, I'll push one again.
Sweet. Well, you're going to have fun when you see the renovation. I spent a lot of hours renovating the Power Person worksheet, and that's going to be the one worksheet that we won't be putting on the website. It's so detailed and so in-depth that it really takes the intensive to comprehend it, I think, and make sense of it. So, but it's being renovated significantly from the first round.
Great.
And I'll be excited about getting it out to everybody. Hopefully I'm going to finish that today by the time Ari leaves here, and we'll get it out. And
so
then Jane
that
will have a
reminds
little
me of a
vacation.
question.
Yes.
The first one was, you've probably already fixed it. But question number 2, I didn't understand with your wording. I couldn't understand what you were driving at. I answered it as I thought you might mean, but you've probably fixed that already, right?
Okay. Well, number 2 has changed significantly, so yes.
Okay. All right. And the other question is, I think... The other question is, and I think you just answered it, but I'm going to ask anyway. I have a Zoom support group, and I wanted to ask your permission to show it to them on our Zoom group, but I guess not.
Well, let me put that in the hopper to think about, because it's pretty intricate, and I'd already made the decision it would just be for the intensive group. So let me put that.
Michael, I can hardly hear you. It's very muffled. I don't know. It's Michelle experiences that too. But yeah.
Is that better? Okay. My apology. My microphone kind of slipped, so I've got it back up in place. So let me think about that one.
Okay. My group is tomorrow, and we don't have to do it tomorrow. But if you think about it and get an answer, let me know.
Okay.
Because they will.
I will.
They
Thank
will
you.
love it. These people are amazing. The work they do. So.
One of the things, Susan, that always, for decades, has struck me is that I find it amazing how the innate intelligence, the being of each individual, once it breaks through to them and they hear it, the genius ways in which they take it and run with it, things that I never thought about, and use it. In fact, that's been a big part of how I've learned it. Is I've taught it, and then people went off and did this with it. It's like, well, never intended that, but that's awesome, great. We'll put that in the hopper. So that wisdom that's in every person, when we start tapping it on the shoulder and waking it up, it's pretty awesome how it moves through the issues that need to be dealt with, and how gracefully, how powerfully. It's most gratifying. So Michelle, do you have anything on your mind for today?
Not really. Well, actually, we have Susan was 610. So maybe I just muted her. Okay. I feel kind of spacey from being in Sedona. I never had that reaction before, but I decided that I was going to do my client sessions outside yesterday, and so I was so impressed because the cell phone worked, the cell-like reception worked perfectly, and so I sat near a vortex of energy, and I did 5 hours of work talking with my clients from that location, and I feel like it wiped my brain. Can't think. I've been the best listener because it's like I'm feeling detached and kind of spacey still. So I don't know what's happening. I'm just kind of watching it.
Sounds like you're achieving the objective of being out of your mind. Good place to be. You will be delightfully pleased by the wisdom that comes in when you let go of, the projections. The whole. Actually, we've been reading the book, so we're on the chapter on projection externalization, and with the character Richard in the book. And when you let the mind just go, that's where the truth, that's where the deepest wisdom lies. That's where the 5 smooth stones lie. That's where enlightened perception comes from. So it's a good place to be. I know that, for instance, when I'm doing the show, I'm in a room with the door closed, and it's like I'm 1,000% focused on what's happening here, and it's like, thank you, but don't even open my door, because that vibe is a distraction from being focused from that state. So congratulations. Hold the space for you to keep deepening it. It's an amazing place to live. It's where we're all designed to live. And we talked to
it's very
Cecilia yesterday. Yeah. Cecilia was describing that with, she called into the show last week and had some pretty intense stuff going on. We gave her a couple of assignments. She did them. And, as she's talking about what her result was, she was basically talking about being out of her mind, living in that state and how sweet it is. It's like, yeah, that's where we're designed to be. And then, if the mind's got something we need, we turn to the mind as a servant it's supposed to be and gather its information and then make choices where if we're in the reverse posture where whatever's firing in brain cells, whatever the mind is doing, runs our lives, it leads to a lot of trouble because all it can do is replicate the past. So it sounds like you're getting out of the replicate mind and into what the ancients called the mind of Christ. Nothing religious about it, just that there is a mind of love in us, that if we choose to live there, the whole game is different. Everything is different. So, sweet.
Yeah, it was nice part about Mexico because there were so few distractors and so few things triggering me. It's like a forced, it's a geographical cure, right? But because that's the conditions, then there's a lot of extra energy that can go towards like self-exploration and healing, personal growth, the things that I was focused on for myself. And
nice.
So when we do forgiveness work, we're removing that distraction, so to speak.
Exactly.
When we go back to peace, but so then if you can, when you really clear all those aberrant energies, then you're left with just this creative mind. Like I noticed my psychic abilities were improving. My intuition was improving, so it felt, you know what I mean? That like then you can see the result. Like, oh, that's what's available when I'm not, holding all this anger within me.
Nice work.
Yeah,
right on track. That's what we're here for.
So when you were saying about reading the book, like how do you approach that? Do you just read a couple pages?
I've just been reading. No, it's actually been. It's kind of surprised me because I'm usually spending 10 to 20 minutes on just a paragraph is all it takes. We're up to almost the end of March, and we're to page 47 out of 204 pages. So 3 months, 4 times 3, that'd be just about a year. It'll take us to go through it if we stay at this pace. So we're on the chapter, and if you've got the book.
About it.
You got a question?
No, I say you're explaining it as you go.
Yeah, reading it and getting into some discussion about it and then fielding questions on it. So we're on the chapter, what is projection externalization? If you've got your book there, we're on page 47. And if you don't have a book, it's out of print, but you can buy it on Amazon or eBay. Usually they've got used copies. We've spread several tens of thousands around the country 25 years ago, and so they're still hanging around, which is kind of nice to see. And so you can buy them on Amazon or eBay, usually for $2, $3, $4. And or you can go to our website and download it free. And our website is whyagain.org. And if you go to the book, click on the book and drill down, you'll find a link to download the book. So we've been talking to Richard about this idea of denial leads to dissociation. Dissociation leads to attracting somebody in to bring our traumas to the surface again. And when we stay in the denial and dissociation phase and we make up pictures of other people, we project the content of the brain cells that resonate in us into our brain's image of them, and they show up in our mind with our problem attached. And then we externalize that projection, pretend it's outside of us, and now we think we've gotten rid of it. So we've just been talking to Richard about the fact that, well, actually the last sentence that I read to Richard in our conversation with Richard yesterday was, we've done ourselves a major disservice when we project, for what we have cut ourselves off from is a part of our belief system that needs healing. And Richard responds, almost exploding with excitement as he expressed his thoughts. You mean it's all an inside job, he tendered? As long as I project and externalize my projections, I pretend that you're responsible for my reality, and by doing so, I block truth. Being out of touch with truth is at the root of my feelings of powerlessness. He says that with a question mark in his mind. Once I grasp that it's my holding on to that that keeps me re-experiencing the same painful scenarios, I can let go of it, those cycles, by using the tools. This is actually starting to make sense, he says. If you remember several times earlier in the book, he says, Michael, you're a little crazy. But here he is saying, hey, this is starting to make sense. I'm surprised. I feel hopeful. Like it's something I can actually do, he continued, his voice sounding a little lighter. I've always been terrified around women and never did understand how I could feel that helpless in front of someone who was 8 inches shorter and 60 pounds lighter than I am. Now I see that whenever I hold a reality based on the belief that I'm powerless, anyone who triggers that reality in me can make me believe that I'm powerless. Is that right? And so Richard's starting to get the story, starting to get to the point of, oh, I got it. Here's what I'm doing to myself. And when we realize that it is all done, all the drama and trauma is done with smoke and mirrors, then we can start to change the dynamics that are running in the carbon-based memory system. And those dynamics always default, always go back. And we're talking about codependency, interdependence. And this new worksheet that we're working on is called the Power Person Worksheet, where we're looking at really delineating all aspects of this power person dynamic. And my thesis, coming out of the codependence to interdependence intensive work, is that literally, I don't mean this in any figurative sense whatsoever, but absolutely, totally, 100% literally, the whole world is run by this power person dynamic. The denied and dissociated parts of the mind are triggered into activity. And when stress is building up, what I'll do is I'll default to whatever behaviors I saw my power person do that I hated the most. And I hated them because when they used those dynamics, that's how they took control or power over me. And so when under stress, when the stress is up and the chips are down, what the mind does is it searches through. Basically the functioning purpose of the mind is to give you structures, to give you content and directions that will most successfully help you achieve the goals that you have. That's the simple, single purpose of the mind. It's not to run your life. It's not to source your goals. It's not to decide what you're going to do with your life. It's designed as a servant to give you information, the best information it has. And when we don't reach in and bring correction to it, we don't clean up the multi-generational database aspect of our own minds, then we default to whatever God did that caused us to become subject to God. And in this case, God being if I'm in a situation where the stress is up and the chips are down, I look back through all of my unconscious data and I say, what did the person who controlled my life? Oh, I've got a little munchkin who just came in the room. Hey, sweetie. Hey, you. What you doing? What are you up to? Hi. Do I get a hug before you go? No? Oh, you got a poopy diaper. You got to go change it. Okay. All right. Well, you heard it here first. So anyway, back to the conversation. When I don't know what to do, I'm going to look at who is the greatest authority in my life, and that's your power person, usually a parent, though not always. And so unconsciously, I'll default to looking through my unconscious mind and going, what did this power person, this God who really won over me, had the power over me, what did they do in order to win? So now I've got somebody, if the stress is up and the chips are down, that I think I need to win or control or whatever the game is, and I'll default to the thing I hated that they did to me the most, which at least gave the appearance of them having power over me. And so I buy into the belief that, well, I can have power over someone else by doing this, but in doing so, I just replicate the generational dynamics over and over and over and over again. And as I realize that, I tap into the tool of forgiveness, and forgiveness being the tool of deletion. Literally, it's like the delete key on your computer. Of course, to delete something, you've got to access it. The genius, Yeshua, 2,000 years ago, showed us how to access, when the stress is up and the chips are down, the core information that needed to be deleted, and it was forgiveness. And it wasn't anything to do with what the Greeks taught us about how we're going to let somebody else off the hook because this is moving in me, this pain, this trauma, this stress, this whatever's going on. But that the process by which my mind determines which data it's going to use to try to help me be successful at whatever this project is, the thing that determines that is my goals. And when I cancel a goal, what happens is all of the insane advice that my mind has to offer me when the stress is up and the chips are down collapses in on itself. And when it collapses in on itself, I now have access, direct access, in the presence of love, to that dissociated content. Now I can effectively start to change my mind rather than just replicate the generations. And so that's the objective of this work, and that's what we're here to support you in doing, and again, successfully achieving the result of being out of your mind. And that you only turn to it when it has information that you need. Otherwise, you live as a being independent of your mind and able to function, as the thinker apart from your thoughts, the actor apart from your actions, feeler apart from your feelings. And when you can do that, then you start to recognize that none of those things are me. I'm something different than that. And I don't have to be run by that. We're looking to wake that part up. Go ahead, Michelle.
Area code 808. I turned on your microphone.
Hello.
Hi, Mama.
Hey there, young lady. Welcome.
Hi. Okay, I'm going to turn this off now.
How are you today?
Well, I'm fine. I haven't been able to access the. I haven't been able to call in for the pro. Oh, hold on. I have to get it off the computer now. Oh, shoot.
It's okay. Take a breath. Relax.
Okay.
You can relax now. Yeah, come on and open your eyes.
Yeah, right. That's one of the most beautiful songs ever written.
That is awesome, isn't it?
Wow, yeah. Well, I called in for the show yesterday and got Blog Talk, and the lady with the British accent said there are no shows scheduled within the next 24 hours. That was Monday, the 22nd. Same thing happened this morning, the 23rd. So I got on the internet, and I'm sitting here listening to the show, and it's slightly on like a 30-second different timeline than real life. But anyway, could you repeat the plan for the upcoming week one more time for me, please? I know you said something about taking a vacation and that you and Jeannie will have some time on your own.
The plan that Jeannie and I have?
What?
You're asking me about the plan that Jeannie and I have for the rest of this week?
I'm asking you what availability, I don't really know why I haven't been able to reach the show directly through my phone line. I'm reaching Blog Talk, but I'm not getting the program. But that's one aspect of what's going on. But my real question, the reason I'm called, is that we have a session tomorrow, right, with the intensive?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. And then after that, did you say that that there would be no radio program? I'm unclear about what the plan is for the
I got it.
For the next few days.
Got the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So tomorrow we'll do a radio show. Tomorrow night we'll do the Codependence Interdependence Intensive. And then Jeannie and I, Ari will not be here for the rest of the week, and Jeannie's brother is actually here now picking up her dad to take him back to visit with him for a few days. So we're going to have from this evening when Aria leaves here, goes back home, we're going to have the next 4 days or 5 days to ourselves. So we'll just be doing the radio show tomorrow and then the intensive tomorrow night. And then Thursday and Friday's radio shows will be pre-recorded. Jean's picked out a couple of really hot shows. They'll be pre-recorded. And as far as not getting in, maybe send Jeannie whatever documentation you've got there. We haven't had anybody else, reporting problems lately.
I know.
So I'm not sure what's going on, but...
Yeah. Well, anyway, I just thought I'd let you know. And I was kind of unclear, but I'm clear now on the plan.
Good.
So I will get off, let someone else get on the call, and I will look forward to the intensive call, the 2-hour call tomorrow.
Okay. We'll see you tomorrow night at 6 o'clock Eastern Time.
All right. Love and blessings to everyone.
All right.
Aloha.
To you too. All right. Aloha.
Okay. Bye.
All right, so we've got about 25 minutes left for wide open conversation. What's on your mind? How's this idea of blockage of truth working? It's interesting. Back in the early days of laws of living, when we were developing it, and this idea of blockage of truth came out of laws of living over the decades. And we actually used to teach that in laws of living as blockage of personal error. In other words, this person couldn't see the error that they were making, so they'd go on stumbling over the same error. And when somebody would tell them, they go, no, that's not true about me. That's, they'd go into Satan, the resistor, one who misleads. They get trapped in that resistance and be misled by their own minds. And it was probably after about 10 years of working with the idea of blockage of personal error that all of a sudden it got clear to me that, no. These people are seeing their errors perfectly. They're just calling them the truth. And so when I tell or I allow my mind to lie to me, what would be an example of a lie? Well, in the context of our conversation with Richard just now, I deny ownership for my pain. By denying ownership for my pain, by thinking that my pain is caused by somebody or something outside of me, either thinking that or speaking that, leaves me in denial, means that I have to dissociate from what the real cause of my pain is. So when I dissociate from that, my mind then serves me up a lie, literally. If I say to my mind, they made me mad, my mind is literally going to hallucinate a whole perceptual construct which will show me a picture, literally show me somebody out there who is causing me to be mad, and I'll see it. And that's a total lie, but when I call that lie truth, now I'm stuck in blockage of truth. It wasn't blockage of personal error. Personal error is seen. I got a picture in my mind, and this is all your fault. Well, yes, I've been through it 87 different times with 42 different people over decades and decades and decades, but it's your fault. I can see that it's your fault. That's a lie. It's an error. And when I call that error truth, there's no room in my mind for truth. You remember we've talked about the Harvard research that shows that in a time frame where 10,000 brain cells fire, the maximum amount of data that gets into conscious awareness, the maximum amount of information that's used to build my perceptual construct in any given 1/25th of a second is 9 bits of data out of 10,000 brain cells firing. So when I allow false data, the lie, you made me mad, you made me say, you made me afraid, you hurt me, that disturbed me, they upset me, all of those phrases are total lies. And if you don't believe me and you got one of those things going on right now that you know it's somebody else in your life, then let me ask you a question. How long have you known that person? Well, somebody might say, well, I just met them last week. Somebody else might say, I've known them 5 years. Somebody else, I've known them for 20 years. Okay. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to challenge you to go back to the moment before you knew that person. And this pained perceptual construct in your mind that you say is being caused by them, did you know that quality of pain before you ever met them? Guess what the answer has been 100% of the time of the thousands of people I've asked that question of over the decades? It's always yes. Well, yeah, I did know that before I met them. So you're actually believing the lie your mind is telling you that they're the cause of something that was going on long before you ever met them. It's like, get out of the liar. I love what David Bohm says. You know, that the mind's capacity to deceive is infinite. And you got to shut that deceiver down. The way you shut that deceiver down is by canceling the goal that drives your mind to tell you the lie. And when you do, the lie collapses and you make room for truth. Otherwise, the game of denial, dissociation, projection, externalization literally runs the whole world. Now, how can you tell whether that's true for you or not? Well, there's an easy marker. Are you still capable of hostility or fear? Every time your mind uses hostility or fear to produce your perceptual construct, your mind is using corrupt data, it's telling you a lie, and you're in blockage of truth. And when you're in blockage of truth, you can't get to the part of your mind that you need to heal because you've dissociated from it. Forgiveness restores the access to that part of the mind. And when you bring it forward in the presence of active love, the dissolution of the lie begins. And you get to live in a totally different world. The whole game changes. So hopefully that makes sense. It's a pretty big chunk of information. And I suspect that if I were in your hometown right now and I were up on the platform at your local library and you were in the audience, or your local prison or your local church or your local university, whatever, if I were on the platform and I came down off the platform, having just said what I said, I suspect that every person listening would come over to me and say, Michael, well, what about? And that's what we want right now is your what about question. Well, wait a minute, how does this work? And so if you're out there in listener land and what I've said makes sense or doesn't make sense or needs refinement, push 1. Let's have a conversation about it. Our call-in number, if you're on one of those stations where we can't see you, is 563-999-3581. If you call that number, you'll be listening to the show directly on your phone. And then if you push 1, we'll be having a conversation. So if you're out there in listener land, how can I support you? What's on your mind? Michelle, do we have anybody in the phone queue with a hand up or anything happening in the chat room?
No, quiet today. Me and Bob in the chat room. I think he's from Australia, right? Or, yeah.
Yes. Yep, Bob's in up, over, or down under, depending which perceptual construct you go with.
Mm-hmm.
I have a map where Australia is at the top of the world. It's all perspective. It's all perception.
Yeah, that is. I saw a map the other day sideways, and I could, feel the resistance. That isn't the way it's supposed to be.
Exactly. Yeah, it's interesting how, and there's this thing about, premature commitment, cognitive commitment. And when we decide something is a certain way, that they've shown it takes a whole lot more brain power, a whole lot more energy moving through the system to withdraw from a lie and embrace the truth than it took to embrace the truth in the first place. Once the mind's made a commitment to it, it takes a lot of energy to undo, to let loose of that commitment. And that's where when they said to Yeshua, well, how many times do we need to forgive? Is 7 times enough? And in Aramaic, he said, no, 77 times 70. An infinite number of times till you're complete with that issue is how much you're going to have to forgive. And, of course, forgiveness meaning nothing to do with letting people off the hook, but rather the tools which you collapse your perceptual constructs based in the lie, and you start to get access to truth. And if you haven't used that tool yet, we invite you to go to our website, whyagain.org. And in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see the very tippy top of the page, the word Start Here. Click the Start Here button, and that will walk you through the whole forgiveness process. And as you engage in that, you can actually fill out the worksheet right there on the website, and or you can download the worksheets, print them out from your own printer, and fill them out by hand. You can also go to your phone's app store and type in the words Heartland, Heartland, all one word, Heartland, Aramaic, Aramaic, forgiveness. If you type that into your app store, whether you've got an Android or an iPhone, then you'll be looking at the world's only, at least in my awareness at this point, the world's only forgiveness app. Step by step, here's how you undo what never belonged in your mind. And the technology of it is absolutely genius. How this man 2,000 years ago was able to bring this forward to the world, I don't know, but I, for one, am definitely very relieved and very appreciative of the fact that he did. So you can do the worksheet process right there on the phone. The app is set up so it has an absolute minimum of permissions to operate. It actually only needs one permission, and that's permission to use the internet. That's all it needs. We don't have a desire to have your, the control over your camera or send text or make phone calls or access to your database, your contacts. All it needs is to use the internet. And then you can do the actual forgiveness process step by step right there on your phone. It defaults and just automatically goes through the questions. And when you get to the end of it, if you decide you want to print it, you can print and save a PDF of the worksheet, each one you do. Then it's going to ask for permission to use your hard drive to be able to store that information. But otherwise, there are no other permissions required. We purposely set the app up so you could have confidence that whatever you told it is private, it's yours, it doesn't belong to or get seen by anybody but you. So it's a freebie. Just download it from your app store and you'll be rock and roll. Beyond that, how can we support you? What's on your mind? Is there something that you need some assistance with any of the tools? Is there something that we can do to clarify any of the tools? Or support you with any of the logic and reason behind why and how the tools work? And there are a whole raft of tools. I don't even know what. I haven't sat down and counted how many different worksheets there are on the website. A couple dozen at least. Each one is how you do this particular workshop. Whether it's doing why is this happening to me again, or healing through relationships, or communication to hear what I think I said, or purpose, personal power, and commitment, empowered healing. Each workshop has its own worksheet, or most of the workshops do. And they're available on our website for free. And the instructions are there to put them to work. So if that leaves you with any questions, now's the time to push one and let's have a conversation. We're down to about 11 minutes, 10 minutes maybe. And if you think you might have another question for us, if you're out there, it would be sweet to hear your voice and assist you with that thought or that question. And or anybody that's out there in listener land, how can we support you? Five 563-999-3581. What's on your mind? By the way, Michelle, kind of a neat thing that I ran into just the other day. You know, you've heard me say for years that there are only two places in the world
Hi
that
there.
I found. Hi there.
I was talking on my mute. I apologize. 314 is on the air.
Oh, great. Okay, let's say hello to 314.
Hello, Michael.
Hey, Doug. How are you, sir?
Good.
Welcome.
Welcome.
How's our 2 days of processing fitting into your world?
I couldn't understand what you said, but your mic keeps slipping, Michael. It was slipped a minute ago again, but
oh, my apologies. Okay, thank you.
That's okay.
I was just asking how things were unfolding from our 2 days of intense conversation last week. I thought that was great conversation.
Yeah, I don't think I have enough resolution about all that to address it right now, but I wanted to talk about what you are, in the 10 minutes we have and whatever. This is a pretty big topic there, but I'm curious about just understanding the shift that you're making, you have made some time ago that I'm barely catching up to about the terminology of blockage of personal error, which I frequently use. And so
use
what
blockage of personal error?
There, blockage of personal error, yeah.
Okay.
That
you were there in the early days when that's how we were teaching it in Laws of Living, back 25 years ago.
That's where I got it. So
yep.
So now I'm hearing you say that it means it should better be said blockage of truth, and I'm hearing that I'm asking you to help me confirm that what that means is blockage
Sure.
of the truth that you are actually generating the image in your mind that someone else is the cause of your problem. That's what you're blocking? That you're the one.
No, you're not blocking that. No.
What are you blocking?
You're not blocking. So what's happening is when we live in denial, we hide something from ourselves. What we hide is the truth.
Which is the...
When I hide...
Oh, all right. Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
When I hide the truth from myself, i.e., I've been through this particular painful reality 87 different times with 42 different people. I'm the only one that was there. Therefore, it must be mine, and I must be responsible. That would be the logical truth of it. But when I say you made me mad, I cause my mind to create an hallucination, literally to generate a perceptual construct where I see a picture of you being the problem in my life. So I have instructed my mind to tell me a lie. My mind tells me the lie. You're the problem in my life. I see my error, the belief that you're the problem in my life, very clearly. But the insight that came that was transformed that all for me was, yes, I see the lie and I believe it. I call my lie truth. So I'm seeing my error, that you're the problem in my life, but I call that the truth. And by filling that 9-bit slot in my conscious awareness with a lie, I inhibit the ability of my mind to show me the truth. So I'm now, by telling myself a lie and calling my lie the truth, I live in blockage of truth rather than blockage of personal error. The person who's in error sees their error totally, completely, clearly, 100%. But they call their error the truth. And now by holding on to that error and calling it truth, their mind can't show them the truth. So they're in blockage of truth. Does that make sense?
Right, and the truth that they're in blockage of, yes, it does. And the truth that they're in blockage of is that in fact that problem was already alive in their life before that person showed up, and that therefore it is actually a problem that exists inside of them due to hidden content or content they're hiding from themselves and creating an image of that other person out of, right?
You got it. Precisely. That's exactly what happens.
Okay.
And so we used to, in Laws of Living, we used to call that blockage of personal error. But then, and it's probably 15 years ago now that it was teaching a Laws of Living class at Heartland. I was like, wait a minute, no, this person is seeing their error perfectly. The problem is they're calling their error the truth. And now there's no room for the truth to get in. As long as I believe, and I have documentation from my mind that you're the problem in my life, I'll never see that I'm the one with the problem.
Right. That's great. Yeah, I see that now. Okay, that's much better. I mean, I wanted to just clean that up, and I knew that by talking to you about it, it would help, and also getting more clear about what the truth is that they're hiding from themselves or blocking from themselves, which is the fact that they had it before, and that the image that they're hiding content from them that's creating an image that the fault is, or the blame belongs to the other party, and it would include the truth of whatever that hidden dissociated content is as well, that's in them, right?
Exactly.
The fact that
exactly.
Okay. All right. That'll
so
help
once they can, and where the forgiveness piece comes in, is once they realize that whole process is being driven by a goal. Let's say a typical example would be, well, when I was a kid, my power person always told me that I was the guilty one. It was always my fault and I was to blame. And there's so much hurt and pain and rejection and sadness and grief and rage around being to blame that I never want to be to blame again in my life. Therefore, if there's something wrong, I'm going to make sure that I instruct my mind to show me that someone else is the one who's wrong here. And the deep regurgitating pain, the why is this happening to me again pain behind this dynamic is exactly what we need to heal. But because we keep telling ourselves a lie, we keep it hidden.
Right.
So I'm now cut off from the very part of my mind that I need to surface and heal by getting stuck in the lie.
And the goal can be, and often is, very, very much varied. And, there are a lot of different goals that can end up precipitating this process.
Yes. And a really important thing is develop the skill of being able to spot what your real goal is. Somebody can say, well, I just want them to care for me. But underneath the caring is what I want is to be safe. And if they never come to dealing with the goal of I want to be safe, I just want them to care for me, I want them to take care of me, I want them to love me, I want them to give me money, I want them to take care of all of my needs, and all those goals can be canceled. It'll be moving in the direction, but that person won't access that dissociated content in their mind until they cancel the goal to be safe. And then that file will open in the mind, and they'll have access to the pained content around being safe, and by bringing that forward in the presence of love, it will dissolve and be released.
Right, and it takes some skill and practice sometimes to be able to get to the goal that's under the apparent goal.
It is a practice goal. For sure. Yep.
All right, yep. I think that'll help. I find it interesting that I didn't hear you make that correction until now, and you made it 15 years ago. So, yeah,
that was a major. That summer was a major change in Laws of Living to see that piece of information and get it and I've many times lamented that Dan McDougald wasn't alive to share that insight with me, because the original blockage of truth idea came from Dan, and I have lamented many times that he would have been so excited to see that piece. And it's a major, major piece of the puzzle. And we're down to the last few seconds, so I'm going to just say thank you, Doug, for calling in and helping to clarify that again. And everybody, create the best year yet of your eternal life. It's an awesome gift to give the world. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Thank you.